Meal prep videos are all over YouTube and I love watching them, but a lot of them involve a lot of chicken breast and broccoli, but there's something out there for everyone. Today I wanted to share with you a few Asian inspired lunch boxes that you can make ahead of time. And we're going to start this week with South Korea with the Dosirak. Now what that is a form of a bibimbap, but portable, kind of like this. And essentially what you do when you want to mix it up is give it a shake. So that's what we're going to do this week. We're going to shake it up on the Aimless cook.
So here are the ingredients that we're going to be using for today's recipe. A lot of these you can get at your Asian grocery and include things like very simple things. We got a spam here as well as kimchi. And with the kimchi, I like to get it at the Amart or any Korean grocery. Now, usually they have an in-house homemade one that you can get, and that's the one that you should always get because it's usually the best one. So we also have some eggs here that we're going to use. Since we're going to be making 3 lunch boxes today, we're going to be cooking the eggs 3 ways. So, of course, I have 2 eggs, which I'm going to cook sunny side in an omelet, and then followed by the last one, which is hard boiled, which was one of our eggs from Easter. Other than that, we have this beautiful nori crumble here. And basically, this is just a seasoned nori. It usually has seasoned with sesame oil. In this case, it's just like a regular vegetable oil with a bit of sugar. So it's a touch sweet, and there is some sesame seeds in there as well. Followed by some fresh extra firm tofu. And all of this together, we are going to do our dosirak. And all we need is some rice. So let's move on. Now we're going to start by coarsely chopping up 2 cups of kimchi. Now I'm doing that here in a little mixing bowl with a pair of kitchen shears. Now there are 2 reasons I do this. Now I could do this with a knife on a cutting board, but the kimchi is all wet and I'll get the juice all over my cutting board. And I don't want to really do that, and I'm kind of lazy. And 2, why not? Okay, so when we get it to the size that we're looking for, we're going to place it into a strainer over a bowl and press out all of the excess juice. Now with that juice, we can keep it, put it back in the jar, as we can use it for marinades and soups and all sorts of great things. Okay, in this heated pan on medium-high heat, I got a couple tablespoons of a nice sesame oil. And when that is all coated, I'm going to add our kimchi. And I'm just going to stir that for a little bit on there to give it some color. Now, to that, I'm going to add a teaspoon of soy sauce, a teaspoon of sugar, and I'm just going to stir fry that for a few minutes until we caramelize that. Now, if you've never cooked kimchi before, you'll probably notice that it takes on another dimension of flavor when you stir fry it. The caramelization adds a savory layer that complements the fermentation, amplifying the umami factor. In other words, it just tastes better. Now once that kimchi is smelling incredible and has a little color, remove it from the heat and set it aside. Okay, so now let's move on to the protein. Today we're using spam and extra firm tofu, but you can also use whatever you have on hand. Now this might include sausage, ground meat with a soy sauce seasoning, meatless ground, leftover steak, pork chops, whatever. Now because spam already has salt, you don't really have to add anything. We're just going to brown it. And the same with the tofu as well, as everything is going to be seasoned as the dosirak is mixed together. So once they're done browning, we're just going to place on paper towel to absorb the excess fat and set it aside. Other than that, there's not much left to do but cook eggs. And for this, you can cook them however you like. But since today we're making 3 dosirak, we're going to be cooking the eggs in 3 ways. Sunny side up, we're going to make a shredded omelet, and hard boiled. Now here's a tip. When including eggs in the lunchbox that are going to be eating later, it's recommended that you use an egg that's fully cooked. Now it's safer for one if you're going to be keeping it at room temperature for a few hours in the day before lunch, and 2, since it's going to cook through anyway if you decide to microwave it. Now if you're going to be serving this thing right away, the runny yolk is the way to go. Assembly is just like making bibimbap. And if you want to refer to that video of bibimbap that I did years ago, you can, because it's going to show you also how to make the chogochujang sauce, which we are going to put after I layer on this steamed rice. Now, if you want something not as spicy, you can go with a teriyaki sauce as well. After you have everything sauced or not sauced, as you can see, I ran out for my third one. You follow that with your assorted toppings, arranging them so they look pretty. And finally finish off with some toasted sesame seeds and whatever fresh garnishes you might have on hand, like chopped scallions. In this case, I don't have chopped scallions, so I'm just going to stick with the sesame seeds.
So that is our recipe for our Korean lunchbox called Dosirak. I hope you enjoyed it. Take it with you, make it yours, and have fun in the kitchen, which brings me to my question of the day. What is the most common found protein in your pantry? Is it Spam? Is it corned beef, tuna, salmon? Let me know in the comments down below. Make sure to hit the like button and subscribe and share with your friends, and we'll see you on the next one. Bubby, are you cute?